So, welcome to the Banana Zone. I promised you this, I teed you up for it. Thank God it worked, or you were going to lynch me.
Bitcoin Zella stands out with its simplicity and clarity. We've crafted an experience that anyone can dive into, whether you're a crypto expert or just a new to the crypto world. Now guess who keeps his eye on us? The author of best-selling book Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. And we want to take this opportunity and thank all the people who trusted us, and we read every comment. And the best part, it's free. Subscribing now means you will get all new information for free. Don't just follow the trends, stay ahead of them. Subscribe to Bitcoin Zella today and enjoy the new edge. In this video, let's discuss these topics and more.
This, my friends, is the Banana Zone. This is when we've had 8 months of consolidation, you've all lost your fucking minds, and then the simple God candle arrives, and suddenly we feel good. Lord Vishnu blesses us with the God candle, and we can all go about our business thinking we're the smartest people in the world. But we're not really. It's actually driven by global liquidity. You've all seen this chart before. Every time global liquidity breaks out, it goes through this consolidation pattern. As liquidity tightens, it breaks out. Crypto breaks out with it. Now, global liquidity is contracting right now, but it did break out to a new high. It's expected to break out going forwards, and I'll show you that in a second. So we're at the point where crypto does really well, which is the Banana Zone. Crypto follows global liquidity. Does it really well? It's got an 87.5% correlation. Global liquidity is forecast by our models at Global Macro Investor to keep going forwards. If you want to know more about the models, you get a lot more of that in Pro Macro and how to apply them, or the macro investing tool. Again, pitching the services, because I am trying to help you guys. And really, whether you're paying $6,000 or $3,500, up $600 or $3,500 for the Pro, or waiting until Black Friday, honestly, you'll make your money back. It's simple as that, and a big return on it, and you'll feel like you know what you're talking about. Global liquidity comes in these seasons: spring, summer, fall, winter. Again, I've covered these a lot. We are in summer. If you look at the summer periods of that weird mustard orange, we always have a strong market in liquidity. So that's the debasement of currency that makes our number go up. Our number go up is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the benchmark asset. And again, we go further out the risk curve. Late summer and fall is all about the risk curve. We'll come on to that. But if you look at the mustard periods, it's always gone up in summer. In fact, so is the NASDAQ. All risk assets always go up. Election years, same thing. Presidential election cycle, all the same thing. And then in fall, we tend to have a good rally, and then we top out eventually. Twice it's been at the end of the year. Once it's been kind of towards the end of the year with that weird double top pattern, which I don't think will be repeated, but everyone has PTSD from. All you fuckers have PTSD. Because once it didn't extend, and everyone's like, oh my God, I need to sell early, I get it. I will help you with this. You'll see some of the things, the indicators that will help you. I will try and get you to get that right. I didn't get it right either. I bought ETH call options at the high, expecting it to go. I mean, lucky it was only 5% of my portfolio. I get trolled on Twitter endlessly, like, he went max long at ETH at the high. No, I didn't. I bought call options, 5% of my portfolio. Failed miserably. But I'll do my best to help. And again, I can't promise anything. Global M2, another indicator of private sector liquidity. Bitcoin and that, very good. We're having a little correction now. I don't think it comes back to 80,000, but who knows? But either way, it's doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing. Even better, GMI total global liquidity, 10-week lead. It's been spot on, kids. Spot on. Will it always be spot on? No idea. But it tells us that we should be early to mid-December, hit 100,000, and then have a bit of a correction. That makes sense because a lot of people square their positions, take profits, etc. Particularly now the institutions are there, they do their rebalancing. So then let's say we'd have a 20% pullback from, I don't know, 100,000 back to 80,000. And then you have the base ripping rallies. Everybody comes in with a fresh P&L the beginning of the year. And by kind of first week of January, we just start ripping and it becomes an unbuyable period of the Banana Zone. Happened last year, actually.
Bitcoin hit a new all-time high of $90,240 on November 13 before encountering resistance. Analysts suggest BTC may need consolidation at lower levels to sustain further gains, with $102,000 identified as the next major target. Bitcoin has been attempting to hold above $90,000, but faces resistance from sell orders. Traders believe that clearing this level could trigger a series of liquidations, pushing BTC even higher.
So Bitcoin halving seasons, we're in the pinky one at the bottom. It's now in line with the 2016-17 halving, which is, I think, the most likely outcome, and dragging behind the previous halving because the liquidity was front-end loaded because of the pandemic, and then back-end it got taken out early. This time around, it's more normal. It's very similar to 2016 cycle where liquidity was given by the Chinese and the US didn't add enormous amounts of liquidity. Very similar this time around, trading very similar to that time. Here is that cycle versus today's cycle. And as you can see, very, very similar. Right. I'm eating my snack because you got to eat and drink at the same time. And if not, you become uncivilized too fast in the evening, which I tend to on these talks, but we'll see how we go. Right. Moving forward. So I'm running so fucking late already. Bitcoin seasonality, blah, 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 up. Bananas. Bitcoin last year versus this year, been playing out very similar. Bananas. Ethereum now versus the previous periods is following the last cycle in Bitcoin. Now, whether it gets to the target here, 20,000 ETH, who the fuck knows? Doesn't really matter, but directionally you can see what happens. ETH should accelerate from here. I'm pretty confident that it will. The other thing is back to the macro, because the macro drives everything. The Institute of Supply Managers Survey, the ISM, that's the guide to the business cycle. You know, how much money is your business earning? How much money are you earning? It's all hidden in that thing, and it's still low, which is why a lot of us feel like the economy's not really working yet. But the forward-looking financial conditions, which is based about rates and the dollar and oil prices, are forward-looking basis, very positive for the business cycle. So we should see a lot of kind of economic activity and feel-good factor within ourselves ahead. So that's very important because it drives altcoin season. We care about altcoin season because that's when you make the big fucking bucks. Altcoin season, here's altcoin's percentage of Bitcoin total market cap. We are likely to, we follow the ISM, it's the old ISM I've shown you, it's going to pick up. Well, what we're going to see is altcoins dominance rising massively and Bitcoin dominance falling, and us being able to make a lot of money in the smaller stuff rather than Bitcoin. Smaller stuff, you know, for me, the bets for me are Solana and Sui, but you all choose your own, whatever that may be. And that's fine. I don't want to argue about what tokens, what here. I'll leave that to you, but don't go out too much out of your ski tips, out of the risk curve. Bitcoin, ETH, Solana, everything else is more speculative. Remember that. So even when I talk about Sui, and you know I'm on the board of Sui, and so I am shilling it, but I'm actually not shilling it because I actually care about being buying it in the open market myself because I think it outperforms everything. You still shouldn't, if you're not a professional and you don't know what you're doing, God's sake, don't overweight this stuff too much. I don't want you to fuck it up because Raoul mentioned Sui a couple of times. Do not do that. Altcoins as a percentage of whether they're outperforming Bitcoin, blah, blah, blah. No, not yet. We're just starting. We had the basing pattern. Now we're going to start. Might be a bit more chopping around, but alt season is here. That's Banana's own signature.
The Central Bank of Brazil is preparing to open the cryptocurrency market to traditional finance institutions, which will be able to operate in this industry with clarity after the enactment of the upcoming regulation. Small crypto startups might face challenges in regularizing their situation due to the high bar this framework will impose. Coinbase's new cryptocurrency index introduces a regulated crypto benchmark, offering investors broad exposure and setting a new standard for transparency in the digital asset market. UBS signals a prime buying range for gold on price dips, projecting steady growth, and recommending a 5% allocation in balanced portfolios. Arthur Hayes predicts Bitcoin could hit $1 million, driven by Trump's massive credit expansion policies, which he argues will fuel inflation and push investors toward hard assets like BTC. Robert Kiyosaki shares the price level at which he will stop buying Bitcoin, emphasizing discipline over greed as the market heats up. Bernstein analysts foresee a crypto bull market fueled by Trump's pro-Bitcoin stance, urging investors to seize this opportunity for gains, with a $200,000 Bitcoin target by 2025. Singapore-based cloud mining service Bifufu has obtained a $100 million credit line from Antpool Technologies, intended to reinforce its Bitcoin holdings. In the competitive crypto exchange landscape, Bybit reported a 61% increase in futures trading volume between September and October, reaching $639 billion, according to data provided by Wu Blockchain. Bitcoin soared past the $90,000 mark for the first time ever, spurred by fresh institutional investments and optimistic regulatory forecasts. Bitwise Asset Management announced it will launch the Aptos staking ETP on the 6th Swiss exchange, marking the first exchange-traded product, ETP, for Aptos staking. Deutsche Bank, one of the largest banking institutions in Europe and the world, has recently linked MURICs to a significant percentage of cross-border transactions. The bank states that the block has been driven to cryptocurrency due to geopolitical tensions. If you've been with us so far, a big thank you. Don't forget to subscribe for free to BitcoinZella for your daily news. The link is waiting below. That's all for today's crypto news. Stick around for more updates, insights, and analysis on cryptocurrencies. Share your thoughts in the comments, like this video, and subscribe for more exciting content.